times a year. So, do you guys remember who we are? The ones that have been here a while. Is everybody new? No. We've been here a while. So you guys remember us? We had training before, remember? Good. Good. Okay, so we're not going to talk about dementia for those that forgot who we are. Okay, we're going to talk about abuse. Now, do you guys know why we're here? Yes?
Yes.
Why are we here?
We have an abuse hydrate.
We're restraining. Why?
We have few abuses back to back. We got IJ to abuse. That's why.
Okay, so you got cited. Guys, if you don't know the severity of the problem, you might not take this seriously, but we need you to take this seriously. Because if you had family in a nursing home or you had family somewhere or here, do you want them to be abused? No, you gotta protect them, right? No matter where they are, who they are. So we're doing this because you got cited for F600, which is abuse, and you were told by the state and CMS, which is the federal government, that an outside company needs to do the training for you. So I need to make sure that you guys understand we don't work for your corporate. We're not corporate. Okay? We don't work for the company. Yeah? We work for AV Resources, which is an independent company. We're outside consultants. We do this for a living. We teach, we do monitoring, we give CEUs, continuing education for nurses. We train director of nurses, we train licensed nurses, we train department heads, no matter who you are. We train CNAs, housekeepers, everybody. So that's what we do. That's why we're here. We were hired by your company to do the training for you. Okay? So this is what we're going to discuss today. Has anybody had this in service before? Raise your hand if you had it before. Okay, there's some that don't have their hands up. Does that mean you've never had this before? You've never had this before? Yeah. Oh. So I need hands up if you had this in service before. Okay, so it looks like everybody, right?
No, I didn't have this training.
You have like 25 of this.
No, I have actually 10 years of experience, but never this kind. I had actually other training, abuse training, but no one came from outside company.
Oh, okay. No, I mean the training itself, not an outside.
Training itself.
Yes. So I want to make sure that you have this. I want you to remember why you're doing the abuse training. Because abuse training is required for all facilities. You're supposed to have the training, you're supposed to, the facility is supposed to screen all the staff that goes in a nursing home or in a healthcare company to make sure they have no records of abuse, right? And no records of abuse or theft and all that, no federal records, okay? That's what we do as a company. Okay, so this is what we're going to talk about today. This is what got you guys in trouble, and we want to avoid it. Okay, so what's abuse? Who remembers what abuse are?
We have different kind of abuse: financial abuse, physical abuse, or verbal abuse. We have different kind of abuse.
So there's a lot of different types of abuse, right? Bottom line is your residents have the right not to be abused. Okay? So that's bottom line. Because there's a lot of interpretation with abuse. Some people think a resident needs to hurt another resident in order for that to be abuse. But is that true? There's other abuse, right? Can I touch, if I was a resident and I'm 85 years old and I like another resident and I start touching him, Is that okay? Can that be abuse?
Yes.
Okay. So the thing to remember there is if I did it in purpose. Okay, so that's abuse. If I'm just touching somebody because, oh my gosh, it's your birthday, happy birthday. That's different, right? I'm not doing it in malice, right? I'm not doing it in malice. I just wanted to say happy birthday, so I touched her. But if you have somebody that does not want to be touched, and you guys know that there's residents that don't want to be touched. You can't just touch them because they think they're being abused. Maybe they have a history of being sexually abused in the past, right? So the minute you touch them, they're gonna start screaming, yelling, crying, like no, don't touch me. So if I do that for that person, and I know she will cry, is that abuse?
Yes.
Yes, right? Because that's in purpose. If I know what I'm doing and I do it for another person, then that's abuse. So they have the right to not be abused, and we have to remember that. So that's the definition of abuse. The willful, okay? You guys have to remember, willful means doing it, knowing that you're doing it, okay? So if another resident has Parkinson's disease and they have involuntary movements, right? Parkinson's? So another resident passes by and I hit the other resident. Is that abuse? No, because I did not willfully do it. I did not do it in purpose, okay? Unless it's somebody I don't like and I just go, I'm sorry, I'm stretching, and I hit that person. I hate her so much. Then that's abuse, right? If I did it in purpose, that's abuse, okay? So what's neglect? Give me an example in a situation here that we neglect residents.
Don't answer your calls. Oh, okay.
Assisting in personal hygiene.
Okay, so we didn't give them personal hygiene when they're supposed to, right? They're scheduled to have the shower and we just, she doesn't need to take a shower today, I'm so busy. So we did it in purpose, right? We did it in purpose, we didn't give the shower. And then the resident ends up smelling and had itchy skin and now had some wounds on her, some scratches, and then started to smell, so her other friends didn't want to sit with her anymore. That's an outcome, that's a negative outcome of us neglecting a resident. Okay, so that neglect is the failure of the facility or the employees or service providers to provide goods and services. What else? We didn't want to give them a shower. What else is abuse? For neglect.
No food.
No food. You just said, oh my God, he's so annoying. He is so annoying. Just don't give him his food today. Maybe if he's hungry, he's gonna quiet down. Is that abuse?
Yes.
Yeah. Or, okay, Mr. Jones, here's your tray, and then he starts yelling at me, you M&M, so he starts yelling at me and go, okay, well, if that's how you're gonna be, then I'm not gonna give you your food. Okay, you need to calm down. Then I take the food and I never go back. Is that abuse?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so that's neglect. When you residents are necessary to avoid physical harm, pain, mental anguish, or emotional distress. So if somebody's in pain, right? If somebody's in pain and you guys went to the room, answered the call, and they said, I'm in a lot of pain. I need my medication, you can tell the nurse, okay? And then you went to tell the nurse, and the nurse said, I'm busy, okay? Don't talk to me right now, I'm busy. So you go, okay, but I'm just telling you, the patient's in pain. And she doesn't go for hours. In the meantime, what's happening to the patient? In a lot of pain. So it went from 3/10 to 9/10. Is that abuse?
Yes.
Yes. So those are the kinds of abuse we don't want to do for our residents. Can resident to resident do it to each other? Abuse?
Yes.
Whew, I thought you scared me there a little bit. Okay, so residents can do it to each other, right? There was one case, I hope it's not you. I'm trying to remember. Okay, there was one case that we went to. They were watching TV, the residents. One resident is a male resident, the other one's a female resident. They were watching TV, and the male resident reached out and started massaging the breast of the female resident. So the CNA did the right thing, separated them and reported, right? They got a citation for it. Is that abuse?
Yes.
Yes. So unless you know what's happening, that needs to be prevented, right? That's your responsibility. You need to be able to prevent abuse, right? No, why would they get a citation, you say? Because I'm gonna say, wait, we didn't even know he's gonna do that. He's such a nice guy, he does not have a record of him doing that before. And they get along well, and we've never seen them do that in the past. So maybe we can get away with, okay, well, that's new, so it was unavoidable, right? But no, they got a citation. Why? Why do you think?
He had the behavior before.
Because the resident that was touching had the behavior before. Okay? And the staff were monitoring the patient for that. And on interview, because when you report an abuse, that's your responsibility, so that's good that you reported it. But the facility has a responsibility to protect, right? Well, when the Department of Health interviewed the staff, one of the staff said that, oh, they like each other. It's been a while, like it's been months. They really like each other. They always sit together, and sometimes they smooch, but that's normal. That they're not harming each other. They're okay, but those were not recorded. There's no record of that in the patient's medical record. There's no care plan for that. Okay, there's no interventions from the team, from the facility that, hey, if that happens, what are we gonna do? Does the family know? Apparently the family also didn't know that was happening. So the family can say, hey, wait a minute, I don't want anyone touching my mom, right?
But what if patient is alert and oriented, and if they want? If the patients are alert and oriented, and if it's their preference, we have to make sure that we have private room for them, that they can have their physical needs.
Right. So in that case that I'm talking about, there was no meeting, there's no determination if they can make decisions or not. The female actually, during the investigation, cannot make decisions. So that's like telling somebody, oh, she's like a 3-year-old, you don't have to ask permission. You can do whatever you want with her, right? That's not right, right? Is that right? No. So our responsibility is to make sure that our residents are protected. So if you guys, what that means to you is, if you see that, you need to report that to your treasuresses or social services, because we have to determine if it's okay for them to do that, right? Some of them, especially adults, alert and oriented, they make those decisions and they want to do it. So that's okay, but we have to talk about it and make sure, review all the records, talk to the family members, is this acceptable to you guys, right? So that's what we need to do, yes? Oh, okay, so we'll get to that. Because that's important, I always get that question. His question was, what if it's the patient that's abusing the staff? Okay, so we'll get to that later, okay? I want to talk about the residents first, that's our priority. Okay, so we want to make sure that we understand first our responsibility, okay? Because we cannot say, oh, we didn't know. Maybe you didn't know, but there's other staff members that know, and it's been going on for a while, and they didn't report it, right? Remember, if that ever happens, we need to make sure we do an assessment that they have the capacity to make decisions, right? Because you're not gonna send your kid to kindergarten and have them do whatever they want with the kids, right? We gotta make sure they call us if anything happens at school, right? We wanna make sure that, hey, what's going on there? Oh, where are you guys going? Oh, you're going to the movies? Wait a minute. Oh, you're going to the club? Okay, my 3-year-old is not going with you, right? So you have to make sure that the family knows what's going on with the residents and assess your residents if they have the capacity to make decisions. Oh no, what happened? Sir? I don't know what I did. Turn it off. Okay, so make sure we do that. So that's an example.
The wire.
Oh, yeah. So sexual abuse is one.
Yes, in the question,
Yes, so we're gonna talk about that, okay? So give me a chance, because that's part of our in-service. Because we've been asked about that before. And it's not. So what are the examples of abuse? There's a staff or resident, right? Like a resident is trying to fight with you and you're giving care, and then you just said, stop it, stop it, stop it. And then the staff slap the resident. Have you heard of that before? Okay, so we've heard of that before. It's a case like that in some facility, in a facility where the staff just lost it and started slapping the resident. Okay? So when you get to that stage and you're getting so irritated with the residents that you're taking care of, what do? Run?
No, call your
Run
supervisor.
away!
Call your supervisor, call someone that can protect you. Immediately, just let resident rest, go and call someone that can help you. Your supervisor, your charge nurse, social services, anyone at the facility. But you should be just careful, just stay away. Go somewhere, go outside of the facility, have water, drink something that makes you
Take a
calm.
break.
That's it.
Okay, guys. That's part of his questions, guys. Right? He said, what if the resident abuses us? Okay, so this resident slapped the nurse. So if that's the case, what would the nurse do? Or what would the staff do? So let me ask you one question before you answer that. What do you do when you see abuse happening? Is that the first thing you do? What's the first thing you do when you see abuse happening?
Separate the residents, make sure that. Should I go out? Should I go to my
Calm down. I love you, but you gotta calm
I
down.
don't understand. I'm gonna be quiet.
Okay, guys, when you see an abuse happening, what do you do first? Yesterday somebody said, is it swimming? You go swimming? So what do you do first when you see abuse happening? You separate. Okay, that's the very first thing. You can't go, oh, she's abusing her. Let me call the supervisor. In the meantime, she's strangling her. Right? You can't leave them alone. You gotta make sure you go and separate them. So if the resident is the one slapping you, then what do you do first? Go swimming. You separate yourself from the resident, okay? Do you guys have a lot of residents here that have dementia? Okay. Now, you guys all had training on dementia, right? Yeah. Okay. Because that's required too, okay? If you had training on dementia, what are you supposed to do if the resident's giving you a hard time? Wait, nobody attended the training? Okay, what do you do in the training? They told us, when you have residents that have dementia and are having a hard time, giving you a hard time, yelling at you, screaming, and said, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go to shower today. What do? You leave them alone. Okay? You don't push them. You don't force them to go take a shower. Right? You leave them alone. That's the same thing with abuse. We separate, right? So we're gonna separate, because why? If the patient's upset, why would you force them? I just want to make sure that you guys know what we're talking about. If you guys know me, I usually call the people that are in the back of the room to participate in the in-service training. So I need you guys to come inside. Come on. I need you to be in the front. Because we have an example. No, I need you guys inside. Yes. Come on. You chose the best spot. Come on. Come on. Come inside. You guys are not off the hook. Come inside. Right there, right there. Okay. Come inside. That's it? Okay, guys. So we're talking about abuse. We're talking about abuse, right? In case you guys didn't hear. Okay, so you have residents with dementia. You guys have dementia training too, right? Because you might be late from the last training too. Okay, so you have patients with dementia. So what do you do when they don't want to participate in the activity you want them to do? What do you guys want to do? So I'm going, no, I don't want to take a shower. No, go away, go away. Well, leave me alone. What do you do? Call the supervisor, what else? Calm down. So how do you calm somebody down when they're upset? How do you calm somebody down when they go, no, leave me alone, get out of here. I'm going to throw my pillow at you, whatever. Oh, can you give me that glass of water, please? And then, so I can throw it at you? Okay, so how do you calm somebody down if they're upset? Speak softly. So I'm going to go, it's okay, I just want to shower. And then the resident will go, I told you, I don't want to go to shower. So it didn't work. Usually it doesn't work. So he said, call the supervisor. So we talked about this, right? If your residents are upset, they don't want to do the activity you want them to do. Okay? If they don't, you gotta leave them alone. Okay? You gotta leave them alone. Leave the room and say, okay. Just say, okay. Okay, I'll be back later. Okay? I'll be back later. I'll give you some time. Maybe you'll want it later. If not, it's okay. We'll reschedule. Right? Is that okay? Okay. And then I'll go tell the supervisor, he said. Yes, why? What if you forgot to go back? And now the patient didn't take a shower. Remember what we said? Neglect? Right? So if we didn't give a shower and the patient scheduled for a shower, that's neglect, right? But the patient didn't want. Does she have the right to refuse? Yes, so she has the right to refuse. But how would you prove that you tried to give him a shower? Document, report, okay? Report it to your supervisor. It doesn't matter if you documented 100 times. Do you think that's going to solve the problem? No. You need to report to your supervisor because they have to know that this resident is refusing. Do I have nurses here? Nurses? Licensed nurses? Don't be shy. If the CNAs told you guys, the resident doesn't want to take a shower and is upset, what do you do? What do you guys do? As a licensed nurse or as an RN supervisor? Run and go home? What do we do? Licensed nurses. Check on the patient, good. So at least he's going to check on the patient because maybe you're lying. Right? Maybe the CNA said, oh, I'm so busy. I'm just going to tell them to refuse. Right? So he has to check because maybe you're lying. So my dear, they're not lying. The patient does not want to go take a shower. So what do you do? Report it to who? They're reporting it to you. So what do you do? Is that the first thing you're gonna do? Okay, so we're gonna reoffer. Okay, so let me tell you guys, do you want a tip from, we've been director of nursing for like forever. Elaine here is my colleague, and she's been director for like 30 years. So, Elaine, what do we do when a patient refuses shower? Report it to the charges. So what would the charges nurses do?
Recheck. Assess the patient.
So he's gonna assess your patient, right? So that's right. Because you want to find out why the resident is refusing to shower, right? What could be a really good reason why the patient's refusing to shower? They don't feel good. Licensed nurses, are you listening? Because you need to do a COC right now because the resident is not feeling well. That's why you need to check on your residents when they refuse. You see the relationship there? You need to report the patient doesn't want to take a shower. Well, maybe there's a good reason why she doesn't want to take a shower. So he's going to check on, the licensor is going to check on the resident. You have to. Just because the CNH told you the patient doesn't want to take a shower does not mean, oh, okay, just tomorrow then. Okay? No, because he said, hey, let me check on the patient because maybe they're lying, right? The CNAs are lying. They still want to give a shower. Or the patient is sick, right? Now, how sick? Maybe she broke an arm because she tried to punch the therapist that wanted to take her to therapy earlier, and now she broke her arm. Or maybe she's really, really sick, she feels nauseous, she's like, something's going on. So when you go, the licensed nurses go to that resident, they're gonna check on the resident, they find out, oh, okay, I think we need to give her medication for nausea because she doesn't feel right, okay? So now we can document that. So she didn't refuse because she's non-compliant. So please do not make a non-compliant care plan immediately just because somebody refuses. You need to find out why the patient refuses first, okay? And see if you can resolve that problem, okay? So that's what we need to do. So that there's a staff to resident abuse. There's a resident to resident abuse. We talked about that when this resident was reaching out and massaged the breast. What else is an example of resident to resident? In New York City, I used to work there before. In New York, there was a resident that was altercating, that was mad at each other. They're in the same room. One of the residents picked up a footrest and hit the other resident because he was so mad. So the other resident died. True story. Okay? So this is why a lot of the Department of Health, when they come in, they need to respond to abuse immediately because they want to make sure that the facilities are responding effectively. When residents fight and you know they're roommates, do you just let them? No. Even if it's a mild fight, like he took my lunch. I gave it to him, but today he took it again. I didn't want to give it to him. I'm hungry today. But it's okay. So the resident said, it's okay. He's my friend, so I'm fine with it. Okay? But they argued before that. Okay, the next day they argued again. He wanted to watch Days of Our Lives. I wanted to watch I don't watch the so
Price is Right.
Friends. Price is Right. So, they started arguing again. So you found this out. What do? They've been arguing. So they're not fighting, there's no physical fight, but they're arguing. What do? Immediately. The poor thing, they're good friends. You don't want to just separate them, right? But they're arguing. Huh? So observe, right? So make sure you keep observing them. But if I were you, I would report that to the charge nurse or social services. Because maybe there's something brewing there already. You don't want it to get to, because remember, you guys are not there all the time. They're the ones that are talking all the time, right? They could be arguing for hours and hours and hours already, and you guys don't know. You guys just think it's the TV, right? You need to report that to them so that they can reevaluate the whole situation, see how much the altercation is, right? True story, again. 2 residents. One of them can walk, the other one cannot. The one who can walk got so annoyed with the other resident, went to the other resident and started choking him. True story. Pasadena. Okay? I can't give you the names, but that's true story. That happens. Good thing the nurses saw it, so they ran and, hey, what's going on? What's going on? You know, no, because he can't, he won't stop. He threw the food at me, right? Okay, well, the other resident can't walk, so that's good, but this one can, so now he has the ability to hurt the other resident, okay? You want to hear another story? True story. One resident was found with a bag over his head, dead. So he could have done it himself, or somebody could have done it. So a visitor, can a visitor do it? Yeah. So you guys have to be observant. Thank God this staff member was so aware of what's going on. It's in the middle of the night. There was a visitor that came in, a man, and said, "Oh, I know Jacqueline. I'm gonna go see her. She's my friend." "Oh, okay. Where's her room?" This is at night, right? Remember, there's no visiting hours anymore. Remember, if they come, you have to accommodate. Now, good thing this staff member, the CNA, took him to the room and did not go, "Oh, it's room 22. She didn't do that. She went to the patient's room and said, "Oh, Jacqueline, this is Mr. Jones. He said you're his friend." So Jacqueline, so the resident said, "Oh, yeah, he's my friend." So good, right? So she did what's the right thing to do. She verified if they really know each other. Because if this person didn't care and just went, "Oh, room 22, right? He could be anybody that knows her but can abuse her, right? And this is at night, so there's not a lot of people. Okay, so she introduced, and then, "Okay, well, I'll leave you alone." So she left. She passed by again later, and she heard noise. She said, "Wait, there's a visitor here, let me see." She was trying to rape her. Oh, he was trying to rape her. This is a visitor that she knows. He was trying to rape her. So good thing that she was there and said, "Hey, stop it!" So she asked for help, got the person out, called the police, so he got arrested. But see, she already did what she's supposed to do, right? But at least the severity is not as bad because she verified that she knows him, right? So that's important. But see, they still checked on her, even if she knows him, because anything can happen, right? So you guys have to be very careful with visitors too, because they can hurt the patients. Make sure that you protect your residents, okay? Check on them. Okay, exploitation. What about if the resident's rich and has a lot of credit cards? And they say, "Oh, can you buy me something in Amazon? Here's my credit card, you do it." Can staff do that to the residents? Abuse them with the credit card? Right? Have you heard of that? Where, "Oh, I'm going to tell you a sad story, Mrs. Jones, because you have a lot of money. My mom has not sent me any gifts. It's been my birthday, and da. So now she feels bad, and she goes, "Oh, you poor thing. Okay, I'll buy you a nice dress. Here, buy it." Am I abusing her? Yes. Because I'm coercing her to do what I want, right? We can't ask our residents to do that, right? Even if we feel bad. Is that? Oh. So make sure you don't do that. See, exploitation as defined is taking advantage of the resident, okay? Through personal gain. Hey, if she buys me a car, well, dress is nice, but can it be a car? So, you can buy Tesla now for a lot less, right? Okay, so what is your responsibility if you see abuse again? So you separate first, right? And then report. How soon do you report? 24 hours, as soon as possible.
2 hours.
Immediately. Okay. So as soon as possible. What does as soon as possible mean? Within 2 hours. Within 2 hours? As soon as possible could be, I'll call, let me just go to the bathroom first. That's as soon as possible, right? Hey, I gotta go to the bathroom first. Okay, as soon as possible. I'm doing therapy, so let me finish this and then I'll report it. That's as soon as possible, right? So should it be as soon as possible? No. Okay. Should it be immediately? Yes. So it's immediately. Report it immediately. Who's your abuse coordinator? Huh? Who's your abuse coordinator? We don't know yet. Okay, guys. Your abuse coordinator is your administrator. I know you don't have one right now, but you have an acting administrator, right? So that's who you report to. Okay? Okay, let me give you guys a tip, because they're going to come back. They're going to come back and they're going to ask you a ton of questions. Now, do you want one question or 5 questions?
Wait, 5 easy or 1?
He was going to say 5. So 1 or 5?
5 easy or 1 hard?
Just 1 or 5?
Okay, 1.
Okay, 1. You guys want 1 question or 5? 1. Okay, if you want 1 question, let me give you a tip. If you want 1 question from the Department of Health, you need to know the answer for the first question. You guys know that? Because if I'm the Department of Health, I'm going to be like, ooh, she looks like she doesn't know the answer, so let me ask her, right? So I'm going to ask her, so how soon do you report abuse? Oh, she knows the answer. Let me go talk to somebody else. How soon? Who's your abuse coordinator? Oh, okay, no, so I'm going to go to somebody else. Okay? But if she said, as soon as possible, ooh, she doesn't know. Let me ask you 5 more questions. Right? So I'm going to say, oh, as soon as possible. So if a resident hits another resident, when do you report that? Right? So you're going to have 5 more questions, maybe even 10. Okay, guys? Maybe even 10. So make sure the first question you answer them correctly. Now, how do you know? So you're going to ask me, but Anne, how do I know what the question's going to be? You're not going to know what the question's going to be, right? So then how are you going to answer correctly the first time? By knowing exactly what your policy is, okay? On abuse, you need to know all the questions for abuse, okay? Because if you don't, you're going to have a hard time. You're not going to be able to answer the first time, and they're going to ask you 10 more. Yes?
What if I was in?
Oh, if your administrator's not here, who do you report to? DON. Okay, do you have the number of your DON? Do you know where to find it? Okay, guys. Your administrator's number and your DON's number should be at the nurse's station. Okay? It should be available there. If it's not there, please, you can go kill him. Go after him. Pitchfork. Okay? Make sure it's available for you guys, because that's important. You need to know where it is. Do you know what kind of form you fill out for abuse?
Yes.
What is it?
It's OC 341.
Very good. So do you guys know about the abuse binder?
Yes.
Where at the nurse's station. So if you guys have not seen this, please look at it. It has a picture of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Okay? So it's here. Another way is, okay guys, I have a question. What if you don't know if it's abuse or not? What if you go, I don't know, that seems like an abuse, but it may not be an abuse. So for example, a resident said, I just want to let you know, the nurse was here earlier and she was so rude. Her voice was so loud and I can't stand her. Is that possibly abuse and possibly not? Okay, but we don't know, right? Because maybe the nurse is really just loud. There's some nurses that are loud, like me. So what do you do if you don't know if it's abuse or not? Report it anyway, okay? And do you know that there's a grievance form? You guys know that there's a grievance from social services that you can fill out. Because that could just be a grievance. Maybe she's just not in the mood. The voice is really not that loud, but she was sensitive that day, and all that. The grievance is done because social services or whoever the department head is will have to do an investigation to see what's going on. Okay? Because not everything is abuse, right? But if you have in your gut feeling that it's abuse, report it. Okay? Because that's important. If you think, I don't know, I don't think it's abuse, fill up the grievance form. Okay? Do you know where to find this?
Social services.
What if social services is not here? Where do you find it? BSD? Where is it?
It's everywhere. In each station, social services station, there is a binder that it says social services binder. You can find tens of the copy over there, and if you go to social services door, there is a blank copy for theft and loss and grievances.
Okay, so she said it's at the nurse's station and it's social services binder. So what's important is for you guys to know the abuse binder where it is and the social service binder, because the grievance form is in that binder. And then what do we do with the form when filled out?
Actually, you have to just write the resident's name, what the resident mentioned to you, just write it down. And don't put the blank form can stay on my door. But if you fill that up, just slide under the door. Don't put, because it has resident information, don't put that information on the door. Just slide under the door. As soon as they come to the office, we will check that and we will see what the resident what grievances was. If the resident needs to see social services or psychologists, we refer them. And we go and investigate and see what's bottom of the story.
Okay, so guys, after you fill out the grievance form, if you're not sure if it's abuse or not, because what? Is stealing jewelry an abuse? Yes. But sometimes it's really not stolen, especially if residents are confused or forgetful, and you know the resident, can I just look around in your room? Sometimes we have to do that first. How many